Get in Kenya.
Get him.
But they have, same people, there's something big happening.
Like right now, they could be here. So it's the biggest is AFP, Getty, AFP, and then Reuters, or the other way around. Reuters, AFP, Getty. Getty is American.
In terms of images, yeah, there's one in terms of...
Yeah, we're So how much, for example, if they have to use the picture saving us to get it, how much
They are subscribing.
subscribe? Just to save attention. The time I used to do research by K24, I used to work some job for the internet whereby you're given a story and you match the pictures with the story. And then these guys used to pay me $3 to do it per hour. I did it for like 2 months, I gave up. Then my supervisor used to complain a lot. And you have to attribute it, get it, streaming, and then attach it. He used to complain a lot. After 2 weeks, I think I was logged off. Then he wrote a long mail. I was broke. So after working for 2 weeks, I said, why did you send me half of them? Young man, you not even work for a month. You want money, as I said, your money will be sent at the end of the 3rd week. So they sent the first month. At the end of the 3rd week, I think it was $160. Can you imagine? $1,600. He used to pay me like $3. I stopped after 2 months.
Bloomberg has also picked up the facts in terms of the people, even though they are heavily in financial reporting. Let me tell you something. It's another one. I was thinking this correlation. After it's done, some movement along. Amani has gone to the bathroom. Here it comes.
Pictures.
Let me formally apologize. We're going through an extremely difficult time. So
Guys, can you go down, please?
but I would really please that you bear with us under such circumstances. That our apologies are indeed very sincere. For showing out. But what we are going to do is also critical, and we would like to be able to communicate to you when we are ready with certain issues. But let me just point out that one of the things we have done today is that we have had a formal meeting with the chairman of the IBC, with several of his commissioners, and we have formally delivered a letter expressing our disappointment, but but at the same time pointing out certain serious irregularities and anomalies that we want them to look into immediately. And we shall be giving you a copy of that letter that we have delivered to the IBC. It is stamped showing that they have acknowledged the receipt of it, and we have made some very specific demands in that letter, which will be attached to the statement that I'm going to read to you. And this is a statement which is a briefing on the 2017 presidential election, and I'm speaking on behalf of NASA. Fellow Kenyans, yesterday we called the attention of the country to the appalling and incontrovertible information that the results published by the IBC through their National Tally Center are a fraud and based on a hacked system that is intended to publish a predetermined outcome. The least we expected from the Commission was to undertake an investigation of our claims. Indeed, yesterday, the chairman of the IBC promised that they would investigate into the hacking of their system and servers. Given the importance and urgency of the matter, the IBC should have by now informed the country of the outcome of the investigations. We have now received further information from confidential IBC sources furnishing us with the actual presidential election results contained in their database. The data, which confirms the authentic and legitimate results of the presidential election, shows that the two leading candidates obtained the following votes. Raila Amolo Odinga, 8,041,726 votes. Uhuru Kenyatta, 7,755,428 votes. Screenshots of the results have been displayed, and this at the time of us putting our papers together on the IBC website, and monitors at Bombas shows the following results. Uhuru Kenyatta stood at 8,056,885, and Raila Amolo Odinga stood at 6,659,493. Evidently, the accurate and local results in the presidential elections is the transmission received from the polling stations and contained in the IBC servers and not the unverified displays. Based on the foregoing, we demand that the IBC chairperson announce the presidential election results forthwith and declare the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga and His Excellency Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka as the duly elected President and Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, respectively. We are releasing to the media and the public the undoctored, authentic, and legitimate results of the presidential election as contained in the IBC server. This will be circulated before you leave. I'll just display. This is a copy of the letter that has gone to the party. And maybe I'll read it aloud. Mr. Chairman, Article 86 of the Constitution requires as follows. At every election, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission shall ensure that A, whatever voting method is used, the system is simple, accurate, verifiable, secure, accountable, and transparent. B, the votes cast are counted, tabulated, and the results announced promptly by the presiding officer at each polling station. C, the results from the polling stations are openly and accurately collated and promptly announced by the returning officer. And D, appropriate structures and mechanisms to eliminate electoral malpractice are put in place to including the safekeeping of election materials. We have information of the actual presidential election results contained in the IEBC database, and I've just read those out to you. And we have stated that we have annexed the actual and complete data contained in IBC servers with the serial number DBO presidential real time and the screenshots obtained from the IBC website itself. We therefore demand as follows, and this is addressed to him, that you stop forthwith the display of unverified and unauthenticated results. 2, that you allow political parties to download all the forms of 34A and forms 34B to enable them to verify them expeditiously. It is practically impossible for political parties to verify all the 41,000 documents with only 2 terminals that the IBC is providing. 3rd, we demand that Raila Amolo Odinga and Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka be declared president and deputy president respectively. We shall also be releasing to you the printout, the data from the server itself, and the screenshots. So those are also on the
So why are you releasing these results before the final results have actually been brought out?
Can you divulge your source? I think for credibility's sake.
Can you tell us the polling
You
stations
want,
and constituencies,
you want to
please?
be the head of state. A person who wants to be a head of state must command credibility. Can you divulge the name of your source so that as journalists we can verify the source? Because anybody can come with unfounded allegations. For our own credibility in terms of us reporting.
I think we have gone through that bit. It's an issue that was raised earlier in the previous press conference, and we did say that following the experience we have seen in the situation of Chris Musanga, we are also going to be very careful that we are not going to release names of our source.
Please, can you tell us the polling stations and constituencies where you believe that votes were incorrectly recorded?
The printout that you're going to get indicates all the counties, all of them, throughout the republic. Yes,
but constituencies and polling
all
stations.
tabulated.
Will you submit the name to the courts of law? Will you submit the name of your source to the courts of law? Because the courts of law can't operate on rumors.
When we get, I'm sorry, that's unfortunate that you're saying that this is a rumor.
No, I'm just saying for the court to arrive at
I think you're being unreasonable there, because you cannot jump to the conclusion that my statement is true. I'm trying to respond. All right? So the question is that when we are told at the appropriate time whether it is within a court of law, then we shall present our evidence.
Mr. Mulvani, the IEBC...
Excuse me, we shall have an orderly press conference, and I will point at you, ask your questions. We are ready to answer all the questions, and don't repeat the questions that were asked yesterday, and you introduce yourself. We know that some people have got an agenda here, and if you want to state your case, you can state it elsewhere. But if you answer your question to be answered, be precise, and tell us where you come from.
Question?
Can I go to the back there?
Mr. Mudavadi, John Agnew from the Financial Times. The IEBC has not yet said it's received all the Form 34As and 34Bs, but you're saying that you have the final result. Are you suggesting that the IEBC is lying, that it has received all the forms? Or how can you explain how you are reaching these numbers if the IEB says it has not received all the forms?
But by the way, we have stated here that as at the time of writing or collecting, those were the figures that were there. And as we speak now, we are also having other situations where others are trying to declare and say that the IEBC should make a declaration. Okay? So our position is not different But we are stating very clearly that we have collated up to this point.
So these are not final results, you're saying?
These are as good as being final, I can tell you that.
Even though the IEBC has not received all the forms?
IBC will make its declaration, but we are pointing out the facts that are before us.
Quick question, sir. Alvin Simpia from the SABC. Mr. Odinga, if you could please come forward. Millions of people, Kenyans, have voted for you, whether it is according to your results or whether it's according to the IEBC results. What's your message to Kenyans right now that you've said, and NASA has said, that these results are not legitimate?
I think if he's going to speak, I would like to say that Honorable Raila Odinga will speak after the final declaration. But we are speaking as NASA, and we are stating that we want to be able to release to you what we are collecting and what we have been doing. That is the point that we want to play across. And we are indicating to you that even within our own system, we had our tallying process. And we are juxtaposing and looking at the facts as they are and what we are getting.
And as NASA, what's your message to Kenyans then? As NASA, what are you saying to Kenyans right now?
I think on this particular issue, the message to Kenyans was that remain calm. We did say that. Our Deputy President did say very clearly that Kenyans should remain calm at this point in time.
Yes, sir.
Sophia Wanina from KTN. You indicated yesterday that the entire process was a fraud. So what do you direct to your members who have won the election? And number two, do you have 34A forms from all your agents from the polling station?
I can tell you we have collected a very large number of such forms. But it's also, I believe, within your own purview that certain areas up to now, like if you listen to the statement I read, we still have situations where even in Bungoma, as we speak, believe you me, the results were counted. One of our principals, namely Honorable Watanguga, the results were very clear. Up to this time, they have not formally announced the results in Bungoma. And yet, they have announced the results in a much wider constituency in the name of Nairobi County in terms of numbers. So we are seeing some of these things, and we are saying that these delays sometimes are also an indicator that there's a serious attempt to try and either doctor or alter the actual results.
Hi, just down here, I'm sorry, not very dignified. Martina Savage from the Wall Street Journal. Thanks for your patience in explaining this technical process of vote tallying. Could you let us know if you're content with the work your agents who have co-signed the forms, as is the legal requirement, are doing? And if that is the case, then how can you be disputing documents at the IEBC that they're your people's signatures?
The truth of the matter is that not all documents have arrived there.
Of course.
That's one fact. The second thing, the original position was that they were posting results.
But we're over that now.
No,
we're moving forward from that.
But it has an impact on the outcome.
I understand, but let's move forward to the real formal results with the forms attached to them, which your people and the people from the other coalitions are co-signing as per the law. Do you vouch for what your agents present when the signature of these forms is happening are doing?
Where our agents have signed, we have no reason to doubt our agents where they signed. By the way, let me also just add that we also have the data from the EVs, which actually show the number of people who turned out to vote. And we shall also make that available as an attachment.
As you've announced some results here showing Mohammed Yusuf, Voice of America, you've announced some results here showing that your candidate is winning. And does that mean that irrespective of what IEBC announces, if they don't announce Honorable Odinga, that you're going to be legitimate and you're going to swear in the president? So what does that mean? Is that not the recipe of chaos for Kenya?
We are not going for chaos, and we are not doing the IEBC job. We are stating to the world and to the community that the numbers that are being generated at the IEBC how serious anomaly. The job and the law about the declaration, that remains the job of the IBC. What we are putting across here is to say we hope and look forward to the IBC doing what is correct.
Thank you very much. My name is Zawadi Mdigo from K4 TV. Yesterday, the Honorable Raila mentioned that the flows cut across all positions from governor to MCA. You have said now that the Honorable Raila is winning according to your numbers. Does that mean if he is declared winner by the IBC, as you request, all other positions, and that is something she mentioned, which you didn't clarify, all other positions from governor to MCA will remain as it is, or you will also want new declarations on those positions?
I think what is clear is that perhaps we are going to see the highest number of petitions ever in our country. Because the issue you're pointing out as an example is that there is a certain progression. If you look at what the IBC has been tabulating, there is a constant progression of about 0.11, which keeps on showing that the Uhuru figure is 54% and the Raila figure is at 45 or 44%. Now, if you look at the results of the Nairobi governorship, you tend to see the same kind of variation. If you look at the results that have come out in Machakos, it's almost the same variation. If you look at the results in Meru for the governor, it's almost the same variation. How is it possible that even Kajiado, how is it possible that the same figure of about 0.11 is the variation that is spreading across including some of these counties?
Question this side, sir.
Mr. Mudavadi, so now what? Mr. Mudavadi, my name is Jane Keong from CGTN. So now what? We foresee a challenge, and secondly, the international observers appear to have given the IEBC a thumbs up. You dispute this, so what do you think?
I can tell you that we had our own brief with the IBC, with the observers, and they made their comments. But we told them there's one thing that has always been a flaw in the issue of observers. It's easy to tour a polling station, look at the people in there, stroll in the polling booth and say everything is going. And to that extent, there was no chaos across the country. People went in, voted, by and large. Okay? But the mischief is not necessarily at that process. And we did point out to them that how many of them had actually access to a process where the tallying was taking place. And I can tell you none of them went there. And they only gave their statements to say we went to query the tallying process with the IBC after receiving the complaint from NASC.
My name is Mercy Juma from the BBC. Question for you. We appreciate that you're saying your informant remains confidential for now, but if this matter goes to court and this lead is lifted, are you aware that he or she may be required to testify before court?
Obviously, if a court was to give evidence, I'm not a lawyer, or demand evidence, but there's a process there and our lawyers will
One more from here, sir.
Standard.
Right here.
Okay, my name is Luka Nami from the Standard. There's this high concern of a spoiled number of votes, now over 500,000. I don't know whether you have been able to verify whether it's affecting your candidate in this process.
Clearly, all I can say is that is part of the analysis that is also going on, because those are extremely high number of votes and stuff. But we are also receiving all sorts of information of ballot boxes being found in different parts of the country with marked papers, and I think we are also bringing some of this information to the media.
Question?
Well, Samogin Aya from Citizen TV. We made a very specific demand to the IEBC. IEBC says that they will be making a declaration tomorrow by midday. What if they make a declaration on the presidency that is not among your demands?
At this point in time, we have stated our position. We have indicated the facts that are before us. The duty of the IEBC remains purely their duty. We can only respond to them after they've made their common.
Just one more thing I want to add. Something basically wrong has happened the way the IBC has handled the counting and transmission of the elections. Presidential elections in Kenya are held at the constituencies. If the IBC would have handled these elections in the manner provided under the Constitution and the Elections Act, the results from the polling stations are required to be transmitted to the constituencies, the 290 constituencies. And the Form 34A are supposed to accompany this transmission to the constituencies for verification. It is very important that you appreciate this point. Verification happens at the constituencies, and the results of the elections, presidential, are announced at the constituencies. Now, what has happened is that IBC is announcing results at the National Tallying Center. That is not what the Constitution says. And therefore, the IBC is also in a lot of problems because these Form 34As are out there in the field. They are displaying results which are unverified and authenticated. And if you're listening to the chairman of the commission, he has said that the results they have displayed are not official results, and they know it. And finally, they are also aware that at the point when the results go to the National Tallying Center, there is a process of verification. And right now we have agents at Bomas, whom we have talked to when we went to Bomas. We have IT experts who are going through that process of verification. And by the way, the forms that have been received at Bomas, they are not the original forms largely. They are transmissions, which in accordance with the law, anything that is of electronic nature, the electronic evidence before you can even put it before a court of law, there's a process under the Evidence Act. And therefore, we are in a position where the IBC is doing things the other way around, instead of allowing these results to be announced formally at the constituencies. And that's where the results should be coming from. And I hope that point is understood. I think we'll have one more question.
One more from here.
From the list.
All right, my name is Ken Mijungu. I have a question. I'm seeking for you to tie the loose ends. Yesterday, the allegation was the hacking of the system, of which it was a basis for disputing the results that are being shown. Today, you're telling us a confidential source from the IBC server has given you a different result. So which one can we rely on? Did you get the authentic, and how come it was hacked and there's still results in there that to you look like the authentic results?
No, yesterday, what we gave you yesterday was showing the manipulation of the results, how the results were manipulated. When the hacker entered, the database of IBC. What you're telling you today is quite different. What the information you're giving you is from IBC's own database. And by the way, if you live in Kenya, whistleblowers are protected. There's a protection program for whistleblowers. And you know what has happened to some people who have come out with information, the kind of information that lady is looking for. If you're living really in Kenya, you are such a person who will even endanger the life of a journalist. And by the way, even journalists, we protect our sources even from journalists. And that is allowed under the law.
I just want to check. The Honorable Raila.
Last question.
Naomba kwa muhtasari tu Bwana Musalia utuelezee Wakenya kwa ujumla kwa muungano wa NASA leo umetendeka nini?
Asante. Kwa kifupi, ningependa kusema kwamba leo tumekuwa kule Bomas, watu wetu wako, lakini mimi na wenzangu ambao tunateuliwa kama chief agent alternate tumekuwa kule na tumekuwa na mkutano wa mwenyekiti wa IBC pamoja na commissioners wake, na leo tumewapatia barua ambayo inaeleza kinaganaga kwamba sisi haturidhiki na yale ambayo yanatendeka kule. Jambo la pili, tumewapatia ushahidi ambao tumepata kuonyesha kwamba yale matokeo ambayo yako kwa screen zao si matokeo ambayo ni ya ukweli. Hapo ndio tumesema kwamba tunataka wafanye kazi yao kulingana na katiba na waeleze ukweli, na ukweli ni kwamba wakitoa yale ambayo inatakana yatoke, yule ambaye anaongoza ni Raila Odinga.
Last question, Mr. Mugabe. Omonyango from KUTV. Are you confident with the verification exercise underway at Bomas right now?
We have already expressed our doubts about that.
With the verification process?
Because the trigger of all this was that when they started posting, and if only we could just listen to this point, when they started posting, they were posting results without the image of the Form 34A. So now the Form 34A are becoming an after, either an afterthought or an after event. That is a very serious thing.
With due respect, sir, we waited for 8 hours and we were waiting for
You are waiting for NASA. You are waiting for NASA. For NASA. You are waiting for NASA. No. Madam. Madam.
The two ladies there. The two ladies there.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. That's what leadership is.
No, just ask.
Your message to the Kenyans. I'm saying, oh, okay. My name is Sophie Mukwena. I'm the foreign editor at the South African Broadcasting Corporation. I was with Mr. Odinga in the Lesotho election as an observer. I trust that he can be able to understand. We just want his message to the Kenyans at this moment. I've asked the question. Your message to the Kenyans at this moment while we're dealing with these challenges.
But it was.
I think in all fairness, I did say, I just did say that I'm speaking on behalf of NASA. And if there's a development that warrants a statement directly from Honorable Raila Odinga, it will be available. He's not a press-shy person. the other lady.
Hi there, I'm Catherine from Reuters. Please, could you tell us right here, while we have the websites open, which Form 34A that you have found to be false, for example?
Honestly, our team is at Bomas. They are scrutinizing those documents there, and they are sharing the portal, as I said. But please bear with us and take the statements that we have given. The others will come.
So we don't have any evidence right now to look at.
If you have not seen the papers, we're going to give you.
We're keen to follow them.
My name is Brenda Zeda. You talked about the manipulation of the results affecting, like you're talking about the same percentage that is constant also when it comes to not only the presidential candidate results but also to some of the gubernatorial results. Are you trying to say that the manipulation also affected some of the gubernatorial positions in some of the countries?
It's very possible that if somebody decided to tweak and a certain factor, additional factor, and allow them into that, and it runs across, it will start affecting other areas.
Just a quick one. Is there a deadline to the demand that you made to the IEBC?
They will respond. They will respond.
But is there a deadline?
Mambo? Nakwambia wewe.
There's a camera right back on it.
No, just people don't understand that as journalists, thank you so much. Thank you so much. But when I will get to yourself, I will see that. That's leadership.
Thank you.